Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of Cutter One. I am your host, Jay, Just Jay, your resident troublemaker and your resident culture warrior. I hope you are all doing well as we head into another fun-filled week ahead for all of us. Not looking forward to this one, but, it's going to be one of those weeks where you just got to power through. So I hope that everything that you plan for and everything that you're hoping for this week comes through, and let's get right into it. All right, so this one is coming to us from the good folks over at Cosmic Book News. Cosmic Book News dot news. Cosmic Book dot news. All right, so let's get right into it. This is the story. You've probably heard something about this already. This is Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves is more woke garbage. Big surprise, all the male characters in the movie are intentionally made to look like losers. This is by Matt McGloin, okay, as originally published as Friday. Well, no one saw this coming, but it's RIP for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves as the flick is confirmed to be more Hollywood woke garbage. I grew up playing D&D as a kid and have fond memories of creating the characters and battling hordes of monsters as I rolled the multi-sided dice. We would get the neighborhood kids together and play in our garages, setting up chairs and tables to do battle. We would spend hours going through the modules and monster manual, which offered a glimpse of the creatures inside. The game is all about imagination, but the cool cover artwork and the various companions set the tone. And I agree. I also grew up in the 1980s and the early 90s playing Dungeons and Dragons, although we didn't have garages where I was because I was a poor kid in the Bronx, so we just got together in my living room. Fast forward to 2023, and Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves is getting released. A new movie that is based on the property, but of course, it's learned they went the woke route for the flick. I wasn't actually sure if it was going woke, but I knew it was going to be goofy based on Chris Pine playing a bard and what I've seen from the footage. I figured it was just another wannabe goofy Guardians of the Galaxy type movie. That's also what I was under the impression. I think I actually did a video where I mentioned that it seemed like they were going for the more lighthearted, fun side of Dungeons & Dragons. But let's see what else they have to say. They love emasculating leading men. However, in an interview with the directors and writers, it was learned they changed everything about the characters in order to fit with their agenda, which is the definition of wokeness. Oddly, co-director Jonathan Goldstein claims it isn't woke, but it seems likely he is just trying to deflect opposition to his movie, as woke after woke project has failed big time in Hollywood, and no doubt Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves will be the next, and they don't want the woke label. Speaking with Variety, the directors of the flick reveal they intentionally emasculated the male characters and made the female characters look better. That's woke as fuck. They went out of their way to make the male characters look like big vaginas, while the female characters are the strong ones. That's woke as fuck. Variety mentioned they noticed in the movie the female characters were doing all the fighting while the male characters just watched. That's woke as fuck. John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein answer back they didn't intentionally go out of their way for wokeness, yet they say they love emasculating leading men and that they thought it was funny and fresh. Are they serious? They intentionally destroyed the male characters so the female characters would look better. That's woke as fuck. Why not make both characters look good? There's a thought, right? You don't have to tear down one in order to prop up the other. How about you just write really good characters? They also bring up Spider-Man and Iron Man and say they wanted to challenge the male characters in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, but I don't recall Spider-Man and Iron Man standing back and watching as Mary Jane or MJ and Aunt May save the day. Essentially, what they are doing, again, is trying to deflect that their D&D movie is woke as fuck and bring in Spider-Man and Iron Man into the conversation in an attempt to appease the fans. See, our Spider-Man Homecoming movie is good, so this one is too. You can challenge a male hero not by making him a big vagina. This is just complete garbage and nonsense. I would agree. Here's the excerpt. Variety. In that vein, I was really struck in Honor Among Thieves that the lead female characters, Michelle Rodriguez Holga and Sophia Lillis Doric, are at the forefront of the action scenes, and the men are often hanging back. Goldstein says, that was an attempt at wokeness. That was not an attempt at wokeness on our part. Daly chimes in, swear to God, it wasn't. We liked that Holga is the bruiser that does the dirty work for Edgin, and he doesn't like to get his hands dirty. We also love emasculating leading men. Goldstein, not for woke reasons. Daly, just because it's funny and fun and fresh. It was the dynamic we had with Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman's characters in Game Night. Goldstein, or Tom Holland versus Robert Downey Jr. in Spider-Man. We like our male heroes to be challenged and not simply heroic. Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves going woke isn't a surprise, as the game has been woke as well. An exec for Wizards of the Coast recently came out against white dudes playing the game, so of course the dudes in the movies are going to come off as awful. And I think the game has removed use of the term race for being racist, and even removed content deemed problematic. Yep, woke. All right. So let's discuss. Yeah, I mean that does sound, I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that. I don't understand this idea that you can be so flippant. Sorry, having a hard time with the English today. I don't understand how you can be so flippant with your discrimination and, for lack of a better term, sexism mixed with racism, all balled up into a nice little package of hatred towards one particular segment of society, and that segment of society is the largest one that would be the people paying to go see your movie. And then you're gonna wonder why it fails, right? And that's, if there's just, we're at the point in society now, and I don't know if people have noticed, where it is just simply okay. You can literally have directors and writers in a interview with Variety magazine saying, yeah, we like emasculating our male leading characters because it's funny and fun and fresh. And nobody bats an eye. Like, this is not, imagine you saying that about any other type of character. Imagine if a writer or director had said, yeah, we love emasculating our leading African American actors because it's funny and fun and fresh, right? You imagine the uproar that would cause? You know what I mean? Or if they turned around and said, yes, we love demeaning our leading female actresses because it's funny and fun and fresh, right? There would be major uproar and backlash, and people would lose jobs, and they would have to issue public apologies, and the movie would be delayed, and but if you turn around and you say, yeah, we love emasculating leading men, okay, because it's funny and fun and fresh, okay, and you're generally referring to, I mean, let's be honest here, folks. Let's not ignore the elephant in the room. They're talking about straight white males, okay. That's okay. Apparently, in 2023, it is okay to be a little bit racist and a little bit sexist and a little bit phobic, as long as you direct it at the publicly approved group. And in 2023, that seems to be folks like myself. But I don't care. I ain't apologizing for nothing. But that being said, yeah, I had hoped that, having seen the trailers, that, what we were seeing was them just sort of playing up the fun, lighthearted side of Dungeons and Dragons. But clearly it's not. Clearly it's more of an agenda-driven thing. If you're having to tear down the male characters in order to prop up the female characters, I mean, it doesn't get much more agenda-driven than that, right? Which is sad. So I think in this one, I was sort of on the fence about going to the theaters and seeing it, but I think I'm just gonna wait till it's streaming for free, and I'll take a pass, and that's my way of voting with my wallet, so to speak, and saying, listen, if this is how you view men and stuff like that, then I'm not in any rush to give you my money. Like, you don't need my money, right? And that's sort of not specific to this issue, but that's sort of like the argument that I've always made with Tolkien fans and sci-fi fans in general, and sort of like the way they're sort of trying to destroy Tolkien and his work and his legacy, is that we don't have to accept it. Right? Just because this is a Dungeons and Dragons movie and I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons and always wanted to see a Dungeons and Dragons movie doesn't mean I have to pay to go see this. Doesn't mean I have to give them my money. And I won't. There's other ways you can see things, right? I've sailed the seas on occasion. So they're not going to get my money, and can be tied directly back to this, to them turning around in a flippant, nonchalant sort of way saying, yes, we love destroying our male leading characters because it's fun and funny and fresh. So anyway, and as far as Wizards of the Coast go, yeah, Wizards of the Coast has always been like that. Ever since they took over and bought out TSR, Dungeons and Dragons has gone steadily downhill. That's just my opinion. You're welcome to disagree with it. I just feel that Wizards of the Coast they're more about, being trendy and checking off the check marks for what's the latest trends in what's acceptable, and virtue signaling, and they're less about putting out good products these days, and they've been that way for years and years and years. I think D&D stopped being good when TSR was bought out by Wizards of the Coast, but that's just my opinion. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Are you going to go see this movie now, knowing, sort of getting a glimpse inside? They said the quiet part out loud, basically. Are you going to go spend your money on this movie, or are you just going to wait for it to show up on a streaming service or watch it in some other capacity? Because of this, knowing now that they do have an agenda, and they are sort of taking, I hate to say the woke route, but they're taking that agenda-driven route when it comes to this movie. So let me know what you folks think down in the comment section below. It'll be interesting to hear what you have to say about it. Again, I'm a huge D&D fan, but apparently my D&D was left in the mid-90s, and this new D&D is just more of the same corporate virtue signaling crap. Anyway, let me know what you folks think down in the comment section below. Remember, if you like the video. If you want to share the video, by all means do so. It helps us get seen, and it helps us beat the YouTube algorithm and get out there, and we can move the channel forward. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, I would hope that you would consider giving the channel your subscription. It will help us in the long run. We are trying to build an army of beautiful badasses, so that we can hold the line and defend the professor's works. That's Professor Tolkien, and stop the destruction of everything that we've grown up loving and caring about in terms of fantasy and high fantasy, and the things that we grew up with, like Tolkien and Dungeons and Dragons and Dragonlance and so on and so forth. So we're gonna be the group that I want to build this thing so that we get everybody together, and that the fandom can stand united and sort of say, we're done accepting this crap from you. We don't have to accept it from you. And we won't. Anyway, so I would hope that you would subscribe and join in on the fun. We're also a fun bunch and very talented. And if you are a returning subscriber, I thank you as always from the bottom of my heart. And that's going to do it for this one. So remember, okay, see, I'm tripping over my own words here. So remember to stay good, to stay awesome, and to stay safe. But more importantly, remember to stay more dorkish. Peace.